Saturday and the Black Dome. On a Saturday, Bahram fondly remembered the image of the seven beauties, and decided to spend the day in the Black Dome with the Indian princess. He made his way to the Black Dome, and greeted the lady of the house. The room was filled with incense and perfume. Bahram enjoyed the day in happiness and joy, and as night descended, he asked the Kashmiri lady to enchant the air with her words. He requested, "O lady, narrate a legendary tale that will leave me longing for more. Tell a story that will soothe the restless mind of a weary man." The Indian princess commenced her speech by expressing, "I pray that the king's glory and respect endure forever, and may all his desires be fulfilled." Following this invocation, she proceeded with her narrative. "I was told this story by a wise lady who served in the palace with great devotion. She would don a black silk garment each day, as she entered the palace, which piqued the curiosity of the household members. They wondered why she always wore black attire, and what significance it held. Eventually, they mustered the courage to inquire about the reason behind her choice of color. The virtuous lady had no choice but to reveal the truth. The lady initiated her tale by recounting, "I served as a handmaiden to the king. Despite his passing, he left behind a legacy of contentment among many. He was a remarkable ruler who upheld justice, safeguarded his subjects from harm, and faced challenges with unwavering determination throughout his reign. However, fate decreed that he would be remembered in history as the Black-Cloaked King. Despite his charm and renowned hospitality, his palace always welcomed guests from far and wide. One day, the king was sitting in his court hosting a guest who had returned from a distant journey around the world. The guest always brought amazing stories of his worldly experiences to the king. That night, the king was sitting with the traveler, listening curiously to his story. Suddenly, the king disappeared. The courtiers sent messengers in every direction to find any trace of him. It seemed that the king had become like a tiny drop of water, and had vanished into the ground. He had become so small that even the sharp eyes of an eagle could not find him. But fortunately, due to the love of God, after a while, that king returned to the throne. However, the king was dressed in black from head to toe, and for the rest of his life, without mourning for the death of anyone, he always remained in mourning attire. He always remained in mourning attire. This mourning attire of the king became a norm for the courtiers, and no one asked why he wore these mourning clothes. Until one night, when I was by his bedside, and he was lamenting about how his happy days came to an end and he descended from paradise to hell. The king's words made me ponder, and I fell to his feet and said to him, "O king, who is always concerned about the oppressed and sorrowful people, and is one of the best kings on earth, please explain to me the story of your sorrow." The king, knowing that I was privy to his secrets, revealed the secret of his black attire to me and said, "Since my court has always been host to various guests, one day I had a guest who had come from afar, and his shoes, turban, and clothes were black. I asked him why he was wearing this black robe. He replied, 'Do not dwell on this question, and do not insist on an answer until you discover the answer to this puzzle, which only the simmer bird is aware of.' I told the guest, 'Do not make excuses and reveal the reason for this black attire sooner.' But my insistence was of no use, and I pressed on this matter until the guest became embarrassed and said, 'There is a city in China that is very beautiful. The name of that city is the City of the Enchanted. It seems like there is a mourning place full of people in black clothes. People all like the white moon, but in black clothes. What exists is the fate of this city, and this is a strange story. I can't tell you more than this. Even if you kill me, you won't know more about the City of the Enchanted.' He said this and left me, leaving me alone with the desire to know. At night, when I closed my eyes, I thought to myself that the storyteller had left, but his story remained unfinished. A troubling thought like a worm in my head was bothering me, and I said to myself, I hope this thought doesn't constantly hit me like a hammer and drive me crazy. I said to myself, it's not a problem. I will send someone there to make the end of the story clear to me, and this impatient mind of mine deceived my heart. Some time passed, and I inquired about the enchanted city from all the travelers, merchants, and court officials, but the more time passed, the less information I obtained about it. I finally mustered up the courage and left behind my power and throne, and set out to find the city of the enchanted. I went on and on until I finally found the city of the enchanted. It was a city adorned like the gardens of Iram, with white inhabitants, but dressed in black attire. Finally, I found a house and stayed there for a year. All year, no matter what I did, I couldn't figure out why the people of this city wore black. Finally, I decided to find a friend among the people of the city for further investigation. So, I searched a lot in the city and finally found a butcher who had good behavior and qualities. He never spoke ill of others behind their backs, and always avoided lying in speech, and was very truthful in speech and action. So, I befriended him and always invited him as a guest and always gave him precious gifts to keep him satisfied and happy. Every day, I gave him clothes made of silk as a gift to ensnare him like a prey. Gradually, the butcher's heart softened towards me, and one day he invited me to his house and treated me with various foods and drinks. After dinner, we talked about various topics. Finally, at the end of the gathering, the butcher brought out all the gifts I had given him and placed them in front of me, saying, "Dear friend, I don't know why you gave me all these gifts. Allow me to decline taking them, as I don't understand why you considered me worthy of such precious gifts. I don't know what purpose you have in giving so generously. I was only willing to be your companion, and there was no need to make me feel ashamed with all these diverse gifts. Let me know what request you have of me so that I can be of service to you and fulfill your request. I have only one heart in my body, I offer it to you willingly." I said to the butcher, "What is this talk you are saying? What value do these have in the presence of a cultured man like you?" So I signaled to the servants to offer more gifts of gold and silver to the butcher on my behalf. The butcher was embarrassed by my kindness and said, "I cannot repay you for all these gifts. You have given me another blessing, and now I have no other way but to be ashamed. Although you may be pleased with adding such a treasure to the previous gifts, this only embarrasses me. It is better to clearly state your request, otherwise, take all these gifts." I felt that my heart had become strong, and I trusted in his friendship, so I revealed my identity and said, "I am the king of a land, and I have left my country to see why the people of this land are so mournful and devoid of joy. Why are they sad without having suffered any tragedy, and always dressed in mourning clothes?" When the butcher heard these words from me, he was like a sheep that had seen a wolf. He closed his eyes and was in turmoil for a while. After he blushed with embarrassment, he said, "You asked a question that is not appropriate, but I will answer you as it deserves." The butcher said, "When night throws its black curtain over the white window, and the scent of amber fills the air, and people empty the streets and go to their homes, that is when you can see with your own eyes what you desire. So rise and follow me to see the face behind the mask." So I followed him. The streets of the city were empty, and only the butcher and I were walking through the ruins. When we reached that dilapidated house, he brought out a basket tied to a rope and said, "Sit for a while in this basket, and watch the sky and the earth, so that you may know why everyone is silent and wears black clothes. The truth is now hidden from you, and only this basket can reveal the secrets to you." I inspected the basket, and when I was sure it was not pierced, I sat inside it. As I relaxed a bit in that basket, it turned into a bird basket, and soared into the air, flying to the top of a tower. It seemed like a spell had been cast on that basket. The basket was in the process of alchemy, and I, poor me, was thinking of how to escape from the rope pulling me up. Finally, when the basket reached its peak and arrived at the desired location, it seemed like the rope got tangled somewhere, and left me suspended between the earth and the sky. I examined the situation for a bit and saw myself amidst the skies. It felt like the heavens were telling me a mythical tale. I truly didn't have the courage to look up and down, and who really had the courage to look up and down without fear? So, I closed my eyes and said to myself, I brought this upon myself. Deep down, I wished these events hadn't happened and I could have lived comfortably and carefree in my palace, but that regret was of no use. At that moment, a bird landed on top of a mountain peak. It was a large bird with wings like tree branches, and feet resembling the trunk of a gnarled tree. It appeared more like a mountain itself. Whenever it scratched itself, pearls and shells fell from its feathers, and the scent of musk filled the air when a feather dropped to the ground. I thought to myself, if I can catch this bird's foot, maybe I can find a way to escape this trap. There was no time to hesitate. I had to take the plunge and flee. How ungrateful of the butcher to treat me with such punishment despite my kindness. Why did he respond to my friendship and love with retribution? Perhaps he coveted my belongings, leading to this calamity. It was best to escape with the bird. I clung to the bird's foot as it emitted a terrifying sound from its throat, causing fear in any creature that heard it. Suddenly, the bird flapped its wings and took off, carrying me as its passenger from dawn until noon. As the sun reached its peak, the bird descended and landed in a peaceful, shaded area with a lush green covering like silk and a scent of roses in the air. I prayed fervently for the bird and finally released its leg, gently falling onto a bed of beautiful flowers and fresh grass. After recovering from the frightening experience, I expressed my gratitude to God countless times and began to explore the surrounding area. It was a paradise filled with colorful flowers emitting enchanting scents in the air. The soil was golden, and the stones were precious gems. Flowing springs of rose water were adorned with carnelian and pearls. The river fish shimmered like silver in a mercury basin. An emerald mountain towered over the landscape, surrounded by thickets of ruby-red sapphire, sandalwood, and oud, emitting a fragrant aroma. I felt immense joy as I indulged in delicious fruits, and rested under a towering cypress tree. Grateful to God, I alternated between eating and sleeping, reveling in the beauty of paradise. As night fell, the landscape transformed. A gentle wind stirred, carrying a golden dust through the air, more enchanting than the spring breeze. A cloud drifted into view, resembling a May moon, and released a rain of pearls upon the meadow. In the distance, hundreds of lights twinkled, casting a magical glow. My sense of peace was once again disrupted by this mesmerizing sight. Approaching me were scores of ethereal maidens, their delicate features adorned with golden bracelets and pearl earrings, clutching precious candles. These enchanting women carried a regal carpet and a celestial bed. As they drew near, they unfurled the carpet and placed the heavenly bed upon it. Eagerly, I awaited the revelation of these angelic beings. Suddenly, a radiant figure emerged, akin to the rising sun, outshining all the other beauties. It was as if the women were blossoms and she, a crimson rose. The elegant lady sat on the throne like a radiant bride. As she settled on the throne, she gracefully removed her slippers and unveiled her face. After a moment of hesitation, she turned to one of her companions and said, "I sense a presence unfamiliar to me. Please, go and bring whoever is here." The companion, resembling an angel, swiftly scanned the room and upon spotting me, gently took my hand, urging me to rise. "We must depart as per my lady's command," she whispered. Overwhelmed with anticipation, I followed the angelic companion to meet the lady, feeling as though a crow was soaring alongside a majestic peacock. As we approached the lady's throne, I knelt down and kissed the ground as a sign of respect. The lady then said, "Rise, for this is not fitting for you. Such acts are for slaves, and you are a free human. Come and sit beside me. It is better for the moon to be next to the Pleiades." I replied, "O noble angelic lady, I feel like a servant in your presence. Just as the throne of Bilqis is not the place for a demon, only Solomon is worthy of that place. The lady insisted, set aside your excuses and rest here. You must be in my presence and benefit from my kindness. I responded, O lady, your husband should be your companion, my place is like the base of your throne. She reassured me, you are my guest and a dear one at that. With respect, I stood up in her presence. At that moment, a beautiful handmaiden approached, took my hand, and seated me on the throne next to the lady. She then kindly ordered for food and drinks to be brought for me. The table was made of turquoise, and the bowls were made of ruby. The eyes were brightened by all that beauty and order, and the soul was refreshed by eating all that fresh food. Whatever I desired in my thoughts would be prepared in the kitchen and brought before me. After we had eaten all the warm food and cold drinks, a musician came with a delightful melody, played, and the graceful angels danced. Then they brought exquisite wine, and we drank cup after cup. When my head became warm, I could no longer control myself. So I kissed the lady's hands, and while the fire of love blazed within me, I said, Lady, what is your name? The lady coquettishly replied, My name is Turktaz. I said to myself, Rise, for now is your turn to win the lady's heart. Now is the time to win this lady's heart. The warm blood in my heart boiled with excitement. Afterwards, I asked the lady to play love with each other. The lady said, Be content with kissing tonight, and do not desire more than that. It's better for a friend not to be disloyal. You better control yourself, and if you find it hard to bear, you can end the night with each of these angels until dawn to extinguish the fire of your desire. If you desire another bride the next night, then I will give you another maid to satisfy your heart. After saying these words, she looked at her maids, and out of kindness, chose a beautiful maid. Then the fairy-faced girl took my hand, and I was amazed and enchanted by her beauty. Her face was like a full moon. She walked ahead, and I followed her. When we reached the palace, I found a bed adorned with precious jewels. Candles were lit beside the bed, and the scent of amber filled the air. I saw the girl, like a pearl locked in a chest that I had to open with my key to unlock the treasure house. I lay down beside her, and the bed smelled of musk. Her beauty had a warm, soft, white, and rosy body, like a flower blossoming on a willow tree. At dawn, she bathed me in a hot bath and washed my body with rose water. After that, I came out of the palace and sat in a corner, praising God. All those fairy-faced beings had gone, and I was alone. I drank a cup of wine, and, like a withered flower in the meadow, I rested and wandered from dawn till dusk. When the musky scent filled the night air, I awoke and sat beside the stream. Once again, the clouds from the previous night reappeared, sprinkling pearls on the meadow, causing flowers to bloom and filling the air with the scent of amber. The beautiful-faced fairies returned, bringing a golden throne adorned with jewels. They began a feast, bustling about as they prepared everything. The lady then sat on the throne and commanded them to find me and bring me to her. They summoned me, removed my name from the list of absentees, and seated me on the throne in their own graceful manner. They laid out a spread of food and drinks before me, followed by fine wine and the sweet melodies of a harp. The atmosphere was filled with the essence of love, and I was intoxicated with joy. It seemed as though wine and love had harmonized to fulfill my desires. As soon as I saw the opportunity, and realized there was no one around us, I reached out and took the lady's waist and threw myself into the arms of my beloved, saying, Tonight is no longer a night of restraint. Everything is fine, and it's not good for us to waste time in vain. The lady responded, It's better to be content, grateful, and satisfied with a kiss. Whoever is always in pursuit of desires ultimately has nothing but poverty. I insisted, Then do something so that I am drowning in the sea of your love. Your hair is like a chain, pulling the crazy me in. The night is coming to an end, but our story is not over. It's better to kill me than keep me away from your fiery love. I am thirsty, let me drink from the water of your well, and do not begrudge me this drop of water. If it is only this that scatters dust in my eyes of desire. The lady advised, be in control of yourself tonight, and do not sell the fountain of water for a drop. Forget one of your wishes so you can live happily for 100 years. Tonight, go and be happy with the maids, indulge in kisses and sweet wine. Be patient and do not strive more than this for your lustful heart. Be busy with your nightly duty so that when I come down from this place, you will bring me to your hands, even if it is late. Whenever you catch a fish from the water, it will be fresh, even if you bring it late. When I realized that the lady was not willing to make love at that moment, I accepted it with a kiss and felt an increased desire for a kiss and wine. So I chose one of those silver-bodied beauties to quench the fire in my heart. A beautiful girl, who was truly perfect in terms of face and body. I spent that night in love with that fairy. Until the day came and washed away all the enchanting colors of the night, and I sat alone under a cypress tree, wishing for the night to come sooner so I could drink wine and play love games with the fairy creatures of love, sometimes sipping from the cup and sometimes kissing the lips of the beloved. When night fell, once again what I had desired was provided. It seemed like my place was superior to the Pleiades. Several nights passed in this manner, and every night the feast of love and pleasure was set up. During the days, I wandered in the garden, and at night, I was a companion to angelic faces and moonlit figures. You would say the soil there smelled of musk, and the building stones were made of golden bricks. Now I was a happy king of the realm, spending the day with the sun and the night with the moon. It seemed like I had no more wishes in my heart, and the world had provided me with everything I desired. The blessings were so abundant for me that I couldn't bear to express my gratitude, yet I still asked for more than this. When the 30th night arrived, the sky was covered with silver stars. Clouds and wind came, and a feast began. Maidens entered with apples in hand and pomegranates in their bosoms, and a throne was set for the lady, who sat upon it. The scent of musk wafted from her hair, and she adorned herself with countless ornaments and coquetry. Musicians began to play the harp, and cupbearers poured ruby wine into the cups. After a short while, the lady instructed her attendants to bring me to her place, and when she saw me, she rose graciously and seated me on her right side. When I saw her again, that long-lost desire came back to me. At that moment, they spread the table again, and welcomed me, and I became drunk again, and felt like a spider that had just learned to spin a web and catch prey, or a thirsty donkey that had reached a stream. With trembling hands like a guilty thief, I reached out my hand to the lady's waist and embraced her, imagining that I was playing the harp. The lady, seeing my eagerness, gently placed her hand on mine and said, "The treasure chest is locked, do not reach out, for no thief will reach the goal and nothing will be gained. Be patient and do not hurry, for the date fruit will eventually come to you, but your date fruit is still unripe. Drink wine, for the lamb kebab is coming to the table. Look at the moon in the meantime, as the sun will rise soon." I said, "O my sky sun, O the brightness of my eyes, your face has been rising like the sun in the land of my heart for a long time, and now I am like a candle about to extinguish. You show sweet nectar to a thirsty man, but you do not quench his thirst and say, 'Close your lips and do not drink.' Since I saw your beautiful face, I have become infatuated and crazy. Now, if I could turn away from your moon-like face, but how can I stop the radiance of your existence? Find a solution, so that I can compensate for not having you and reach the desire of my heart tonight. I am afraid that the turmoil that has found its way into me from your love, like a wolf tearing a sheep, will also make my soul a prey to the hunt of sorrow and grief." As the lady saw my impatience, she said, "Be patient, for even my life is not worth much to a valuable guest like you. But fulfilling the desire in your heart is still premature. You will find it, even if you seek it hastily. An opportunity like this night will come to you again, even after hundreds of nights. Every garden has its thorn, and your unfulfilled wish is no different. Let me provide you with a maid until your head is warmed by wine, to relieve you of your burden, then remove your hands from my waist. I heard the lady's seductive words, but they did not affect me. I struggled to remain silent, but my body felt like a furnace, and love was like a sword, growing hotter and stronger within me. I replied, "You have taken peace from me, no one can reach this treasure. Now that I am close to this treasure, I reach out my hand to obtain this gem, even if it causes me suffering. My goal is to engage in love games with you, even if it means sacrificing my life. Kissing your lips is like my sweetest dream. My mind no longer has the power of reasoning, and my alive and dead selves are indistinguishable. My blood was boiling and my brain was on fire, so I lost my strength and attacked that flower like a hungry bee attacking a blossom. The lady patiently asked for time, but I didn't listen. She swore again that this treasure belonged to you. Spend tonight with the hope of reaching morning to claim it in the future. Patience is possible in one night, because this is only one night and not 1 year. She kept saying, but I insisted on making love to her. When she saw my fascination, she said, "Now that you insist so much, close your eyes for a moment while I open the candy box, and when I do, open your eyes." So I gave her a moment to see her coquetry and charm, to hunt my prey and see my bride beside me, and when she said, "Now open your eyes," I found myself back in the basket, while no one was around me. Neither the lady nor the beautiful maids were there. I felt like a shadow that had lost its sun. I remained in that basket, in the hope that it would fly again, and take me to that garden of delight. But after a while, my butcher friend came and opened the rope from the basket. I came out of that basket, with a sorrowful and incredulous feeling. My butcher friend took me aside and apologized to me a lot. He said, "I had told you many times to stay away from this adventure, and forget about finding the truth and the secret of our grieving city. You went and saw and experienced everything you desired. Truly, who can reveal this secret? I have walked this path before you, and now I am dressed in mourning." I asked him to bring me a black garment. So, I put on the black robe, and that same night set off towards my homeland. Indeed, there is no color better and higher than black. Under the dome of the sky, there are 7 colors, but the beautiful moon is compatible with the black night. Now that I have become aware of that great secret, it is better for me to always be dressed in black. When the story of the Indian princess reached here, Bahram praised the storytelling and fell asleep beside her in joy and contentment.